All right. Thank you guys for joining us on this Friday, the Friday before the holiday. And I don't know if it's just me, but this is one of the busiest Fridays that I've had in the last few months. Like everyone wanted to get all of their work done right before Labor Day. So we're super busy. I am Karima Goodwin, and I am one of the board members for FWA. So I am filling in for Julie, our food service maven. She is traveling, so she's on the line. She can hear you guys. She will be engaged, but she is in the midst of traveling right in the middle of an airport. But I wanted to welcome you. Thank you for joining us right before a holiday. We are super excited. This is an impactful week for FWA. This is a very memorable week for everyone, for all women, because on August 26th, that was Women's Equality Day. So that was the day that the 19th Amendment was ratified and women received the right to vote in 1920. So this is a very exciting week. This is a special week to have the Professional Development Committee bring on Teresa and to just have this conversation with this group because I know that it's going to be powerful. And this is such an amazing week to have it. I am going to introduce Ms. Carrie Santiago. Carrie is the leader of our Professional Development Committee, the committee that is bringing you this Lunch and Learn today. Thank you so much for pulling it together. And I am going to allow Carrie to jump on in, introduce our speaker for today.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks, Karima, and happy Friday, everyone. Good to see so many faces on the screen right before a holiday. I'm Carrie Santiago. I lead our professional development committee for FWA, and I'm honored to introduce our guest speaker for today. Uh, we'd like to welcome everyone to our FWA meeting. We're thrilled to bring you an inspiring program called Rewriting Your Narrative. As I said before, our guest speaker is Teresa Collins. She is a remarkable example of resilience, courage, and transformation. She was raised by her grandparents and experienced teen pregnancy. She worked tirelessly to provide for her daughter while building a better future. From fast food jobs to earning her college degree, from joining the police force to serving as a detective, she has faced life's challenges with tenacity and strength. Her career in law enforcement honed her experience in communication, crisis management, and leadership, skills that seamlessly transitioned into her work today as a Jay Shetty certified life coach, author, and advocate for positive change. Her debut book, House of Hyenas, reflects her commitment to helping others understand themselves more deeply and step into the lives they were truly meant to live. With professional recognition for going above and beyond the call of duty, including crisis response, community defense initiatives, and leadership in high stakes situations, Teresa brings unmatched insight into resilience and human behavior. What makes her message especially powerful is that she hasn't just studied change, she's lived it. She's a true cycle breaker who has transformed hardship into purpose and now empowers others to do the same. Today, she'll share her wisdom on rewriting our own narratives, challenging us to see beyond our limitations and embrace the possibility of growth and transformation. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to our guest speaker, Teresa Collins.
Thank you, Carrie, for that. I know that I'm here talking with hospitality and food service professionals, but let me ask you something. Have you ever survived something that was supposed to break you? Not just hurt you, I mean, literally bury you. And yet, here you are, you're still standing, you're still breathing. That's not luck, that's power. And I learned that power long before I ever stepped into a leadership role or crafted a resume. Picture this, an abandoned little girl in a tiny blue house, the last house on a dead-end street. Literally and figuratively, there was nowhere to go. I was raised by people I believed were my parents, only to later discover they were actually my grandparents. The kids I grew up with playing with were really my aunts and uncles, and occasionally this woman who came around was really my birth mother. I didn't understand it then, but I knew deep, deep down, something about my story wasn't the same as everyone else's. That sense of abandonment, that disorientation, and that quiet grief, it never quite left me. Through resilience and determination, I made it much further than that little blue house on a dead-end street. Fast forward to my career in public service and later into management. My bury me moment got way worse than the abandonment and grief I felt in the tiny blue house. Let me set the stage for you. Northern Minnesota, it's cold, spring, Marchish. There's still a light layer of snow and ice on the yards. The roadways and your windshields are also icy. The skies are a dreary gray. And I woke up around 5 p.m. from a night shift hangover. I was feeling quite lazy, exhausted, but hey, it was my Friday. I stumbled into the kitchen and I'm looking for a cup of joe. And at that time, the front door swings open and my 8-year-old daughter walks in from her after school program. She had her hair tied up in her little red ponytail and she had her backpack strung around her shoulders. She was full of energy. Not only that, she was ready to tell me about what Mrs. T had taught her that day. So what do? I grab my cup of joe and I walk into the dining room. I sit crisscross the kitchen table, sipping my coffee, and Brooklyn begins to empty out her backpack onto the table. She's showing me her library books and her drawings of her and I. One of them is me dressed in a uniform, and I was looking rather thinner than I actually was, and she had little red pigtails and a summer dress on. The background of this picture was of a blue lake, and the corner of the paper had a little sunshine in the corner of it. And I said, Brooklyn, what is this? She says, well, this is a picture I drew of us at my favorite place, the beach. I said, well, why am I at the beach in my police uniform? And she says, because that's what you always wear, Mommy. Just to be clear, I have never worn my police uniform to the beach. I promise you. Her and I sit and we go through all the books, chat about what she wanted to do on my days off. We ate spaghetti, one of her favorites at the time. And as we're eating, I glanced out the dining room window, noticing it was starting to get a little bit darker, which was my cue. It was time to get ready for work. I was feeling unmotivated and I was just going to throw on a uniform I wore the night before. Again, it was my Friday, but it was wrinkled and it was ketchup stained from my hot dog dripping on my polyester pants while I'm driving around my squad car the night before. My boots were still slightly muddy and had a thin layer of salt from the roadways on them. I thought to myself, it's my Friday, it'll be fine. But as I looked out the window and Brooklyn continued to talk 500 miles an hour, telling me, did you know fish can breathe underwater and kangaroos can't walk backwards? Flamingos are pink because they eat shrimp and elephants can't jump. Mommy, did you know horses sleep standing up? How cows have stomachs and koala bears sleep 18 hours? Mom, raccoons only come out at night. You must be a raccoon, Mommy. I just got an eerie feeling, like something felt off in that moment. It wasn't just all the facts that she was telling me may not have actually been factual. I was feeling a darkness, kind of a sadness. When you make a bad decision, it was a regretful feeling I had inside me. And that feeling lingered well into my shower. Even if I tried to wash it away, it wasn't going anywhere. And I just knew something wasn't right. I looked in the mirror and I said to myself, clean your boots, get a fresh uniform out of that closet, and put yourself together like you're going to court tonight, Teresa. Because when you look great, you feel great. And so I did. As I was about to walk out the door, my night nanny came in for a night of fun animal facts. I kissed and hugged Brooklyn goodbye, and I said, I love you and that I will see you in the morning when I get home. She runs and gives me a big hug and says, I love you too, Mommy. And can you make me chocolate chip pancakes before school tomorrow? Well, I promised her those pancakes as I got into my squad car and checked on for the evening. That evening was just as I expected it to be: cold, dark, and quiet. And that's just how I like my Friday nights. I was excited as the darkness started to fade and the sun began to appear. And I was only about an hour away from making chocolate chip cookies or pancakes that I get a call over the radio. 900 to 912. Go ahead, 900. We have a family member reporting her parents are dead on the kitchen floor, and the truck is also missing from their driveway. 912 to 900. I'm en route. This was the moment that I knew I was not making it home for chocolate chip pancakes. I sent a quick text to my night nanny letting her know I am not going to be there to get Brooke off to school. And she would know that it was her duty to do that. As I send the text, I get another call, 900 to 912. Yep, 912, go ahead. We have a report of an attempted break-in 10 miles north. Suspect fled in a truck matching the description of the deceased. 10th floor, please send backup. My backup then lets me know I'm en route to the deceased house. So I let him know, 10th floor, okay, I'm gonna go look for this truck. 900 to 912. Go ahead, 900. Plate on the truck is ABC 123. 10-4. 10 minutes have passed and I'm driving the slick, ice-covered roads. The sun is beginning to just peek kind of over the edges of those sprawling soybean fields that we're known for in Minnesota. When I see a truck matching the description right in front of me. 912, 900, 912, go ahead. I'm behind the truck. Please get my backup rolling now. 10-4. In this moment, my blood begins surging, my body gets warm, and my training starts to kick in. I activate my lights and siren, and the chase is on. When I say chase, I am chasing an old 1980s truck. We're going 80 miles an hour on a country road. Again, it is slick out there. Lights and sirens activated, and he's just cruising. During this time, I'm letting dispatch know, hey, this is my location. This is what's happening. And I can see the guy. He's kind of moving into his passenger seat, then he's back into his steering wheel. And as time goes on, and I want to say about 10 minutes at 80 miles an hour or higher, I'm still waiting for my backup to come. And I'm giving out my directions, and all of a sudden, he hits the shoulder of the road and slows to 10 miles an hour. I was at a turtle's pace in a pursuit. So I let dispatch know, hey, we're slowed down to 5 to 10 miles an hour, still heading in this direction. How far is my backup? And they say he's just a couple minutes out. To me, that was refreshing to know because things can go sideways, especially when you're after an attempted murder, allegedly. So I'm thinking he's going to continue on for 5 or 10 minutes at this pace. Well, I was hoping, and he didn't. He pulls it over all the way into halfway into the ditch, stops. My lights and sirens are still on. I shut off my siren and I open my car like I would with any felony stop. And I have my handgun pointed at him and I'm giving him commands. Shut your car off, throw your keys out the window, put your hands up where I can see him. Nothing. I can see him again digging around in the corner of his truck or the passenger seat, and I give him another command. Shut your car off, throw your keys out the window, and put your hands where I can see them. I give these commands multiple times, and I'm getting louder and louder with each one. He is not complying with my commands. All of a sudden, his driver's side door flies open, and at that time, I can hear sirens behind me, so I know my backup is really close. And as he is getting out of his vehicle, he, for lack of better words, puts his gun out first and then decides to turn on me. I notice this and I immediately start backing up to the back of my squad car so that I have cover. And I'm giving him commands. Drop the gun, drop the gun, drop the gun. And I am still locked onto him with my firearm. He's not responding. He's also not shooting. So in my head, it's like win-win. But I'm continuing to give commands. My partner pulls up and I'm give him one last command, and it wasn't as clean as it should have been. Some F words were thrown in there. Let me see your, effing hands, drop your gun. He complies and he lays flat out in the middle of a state highway. At that point, I'm able to go up with the cover of my backup and search him, get him in handcuffs, and get him in the back of my squad car. It was an oh shit moment for me, for sure. So I sit here and I think about this all the way in to the jail. And I'm bringing him back to the station. And all I can think about is, man, I was supposed to be home to make these pancakes. But one thing that really threw me off and that really got me thinking is when I'm interviewing him at the jail, I said, why didn't you shoot me? You were able to shoot me. I was there. And his response to me, and he looked down, and his response to me was, yeah, I could see you a little bit through your lights of your squad car. And I saw that you were a fit, clean, and not a slob of a cop. And your confidence in the way that you gave me commands made me realize that I had no chance in killing you. I was amazed. Like, did this just really happen? Did you just tell me this? I came a long way in my law enforcement career after this night. This wasn't a case that made my career jump off. However, I did come a long way after that night. I did make detective. I trained women and men in my department as well as the military. I saved people, I solved endless cases, and I really grew from that night. There were days that I didn't feel ready, I didn't feel qualified, and I sure in the hell did not feel seen. But something told me to always show up like the future version of you is already watching. And maybe in some ways she was, because that night I had all intentions of being a slob. I had all intentions of wearing my ketchup stained polyester pants to work. And I tell this story because I should have been killed that night. I should have never made pancakes for my daughter ever again. Now, I know food service isn't this extreme. This story is just one of many on how us women are so powerful, intuitive, and badass. I overcame setbacks and self-doubt, just like I overcame every challenge they said should have held me back. Many people ask, how did you do it? Whether I was stepping into a new role or being overlooked for a promotion or taking a risk on a new opportunity, I kept thinking about legacy, about stability, and about becoming someone my younger self would be so proud of. And that brings me to the only equation you'll ever hear in this entire talk. Your story plus resilience plus determination equals unmesswithable. This is not just a quote, it's a career strategy and it is a life strategy. And I want to talk about a few of these strategies with you. When I say tell your story, that is the first strategy that you have to do. For a long time, I kept my story quiet. I minimized the struggle. I buried the past until I realized my story is actually my leverage. It's the reason I connect and the reason I lead. It's the reason I'm valuable. So here's what I want you guys to do. Don't shrink your past to fit into somebody else's version of success. You need to own it, speak it, Bring it into those interviews, into the leadership, and into mentoring. This is where your confidence starts to take off. It blossoms in each and every story you begin to tell. The more you tell your story and embrace it, your confidence will build. You are no longer hiding or minimizing your past, your weakness, or your vulnerabilities. The more you speak, the more confident you become in your daily life. So tell the stories, tell the traumas, tell all the good things too, but you have to own it. Stop letting people take your power away from you, and that's your voice. Strategy number 2 is to hone the skill of resilience. And I used to believe that some people were just built different. And then I realized that resilience isn't born, it's actually built. It's built through all of the rejections, through the grinding, through navigating office politics, and still maintaining your integrity. It's built by falling down and not feeling sorry for yourself. And it's built by getting back up and trying again, even in the times you feel like you are spinning your wheels. These are the times you are building resilience. So here's what I want you to do. When challenges arise in your career, your life, your relationship, don't ask, why me? You need to ask, what is this preparing me for next? Keep grinding. That's how you get promoted, and that's how you grow as a person. Strategy number 3 is to make a life decision, because determination is a life decision. There will be moments when imposter syndrome hits. I know them. When you get passed up, when the work feels thankless, but those moments are when character is built. Hey, feelings come and go, but purpose stays. So your strategy for this is to show up prepared even when you think no one's watching. Set the boundaries, ask for the raise, apply for the role even when you think you're underqualified. Because determination isn't about perfection, it's about consistency. I want you all to know that you are never unqualified, you are never too broken, and you are never underqualified. You are never too late. You are always building something greater, even if no one else can see it yet. This version of you right now, the tired one, the doubting one, the one who shows up anyways, they deserve to be honored and will be honored. Sometimes not in the way you were imagining it, but in ways you never even dreamed of. If you walk away with nothing else today, I want you to walk away with this. The most powerful people aren't the ones who never failed. They're the ones who never, they're the ones who never turned every failure into a fire. So here's your challenge. Tell your story, build your resilience, choose career determination. Don't wait to feel worthy, and don't wait for permission. Don't wait until you feel ready. Ladies, this is your moment. This is your level up, and you all are unmesswithable. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Teresa. I know for some of
Heather.
us, being vulnerable can be tough, and maybe we've had different career paths, but we are all unmesswithable, and I love that word, so we need to get that added to a dictionary ASAP. Your story was extremely powerful. What I took away from that is we have to show up for ourselves, even in times when we feel like we don't want to or we can't, because it really can impact a major life event or decision. So thank you again just for sharing that extremely powerful story. And I'm sure you have many more that you could share. I'd also like to give a shout out to the book club led by Allison. We received so much great feedback and insights, and a lot of people who read your book resonated with various aspects of your story. And I think a lot of times, again, going back to being vulnerable can be challenging, but we may just be unaware that a lot of things that we have experienced, others have as well, and we're definitely not alone. So I wanted to dive a little bit deeper on some of the things in your book specifically. So for those who have read it, some of the things that we're going to talk about probably will resonate with you a little bit more. We'll also share a link to Teresa's website if you'd like to check out her book. So Teresa, can you explain the hyena spirit guide concept and what that means to you personally?
Yeah, so as I was writing my book and talking with my editor, there's some things that she brought to my attention, some journals that I have like rewritten and sent to her. And hyena kept getting mentioned, like how I was describing how I felt pregnant and as a teenager, like a wild hyena. Like it was crazy. And so as we're kind of making the concept of the book, I started to do a little bit of research on the hyena and really realized that hyenas are the epitome of feminism. The women do the hunting, they work together in a den, they're always there for each other. And so that's how the concept of the hyena came, because I want to empower women, and we have to start doing that by working together as women.
Great. Thank you so much. And I did put a link to your site in the chat. And for those who are interested in checking out the book, I definitely recommend. Very powerful stories there. And then what inspired you to write this story, House of Hyenas?
Well, a lot of things were going through my head, to be honest with you, Carrie. A lot of people asked throughout my life, whether it was like old high school friends that I had, like growing up, the parents saw me as an adult and they were like, I don't know how you did it. Like, I always thought like you were a loser kid, you were pregnant young, like you were just going to amount to nothing. And now you're here, like you're in the newspapers and you're on TV. I see some of the cases that you're working, and that's far from the truth. How did you do it? So I got a lot of those questions. I also got those questions from just friends, you and I, like talking, like, how did you do it? So that's what started wanting to write the book. And then also the fact that in law enforcement, I had so many stories that I just kept putting in the back of my head. And I wanted to write them down and I wanted to be able to share them with the world, on a different perspective than what they may see on TV. So I just had a lot going on. And I have so much in my life that I wanted to share and just get it out there in the world.
I feel like that had to have also been therapeutic in some ways. And when we were chatting before the event started, just all the things that you may have put in the back of your mind kind of resurfaced as you were getting all of your thoughts out for the book itself.
Yeah, definitely. Writing, especially about my younger life and having to go through the boxes of the keepsakes that I have and the newspaper clippings of my, parents' bakery burning down and all of this stuff. And it really brought up stuff. And I'm like, I need to write about this. Like, and it felt good. It was hard, but it felt good to get my story out on how I saw it and how it made me feel. And it brought me, there's many times where my therapist got paid a lot of money for 2 years while I wrote this book, because she kept saying, I need you to go and be your inner child. Go to your inner child. Tell me, what was she feeling? I'm like, oh God, here we go.
Mhm.
Hours of crying sessions with her. So it was very deep and a good process.
Sounds like it was definitely healing. So, one thing that I would like to ask, even though you've walked in an industry outside of food service and hospitality, a lot of the same struggles exist everywhere, especially in male-dominated fields. So, do you have any advice on how women can assert their power when dealing with aggressive and combative men? And I'm sure we can all think of at least one.
Yeah, if we're talking about like workplace, for sure, because I dealt with a lot of that in my career and in my family. I think that the best way would be, I'm a data person, so to combat it, I'm always like, always just be genuine to yourself. Set your boundaries. Like if you don't like the way, whether it's a male or a female is talking to you, let them know, like, this is unprofessional, or I need you to lower your tone. Um, Set the boundaries and come with data and facts. But it also, like, again, starts with us as women teaching these men how they can treat us. If we don't tell them it's inappropriate, how are they going to know? I always, it's funny when I talk to people I currently work at, like, well, I don't like working with women because I feel like I'm working with my wife. And it's like, that's your own trauma that you need to deal with. But that's not okay. So I'm just going to say, set the boundaries, tell it like it is, and let's teach them how they are supposed to be treating us.
Right. I always think about keeping the emotion out and sticking to the facts. And even when we do that, at times we can
We're
still
still,
be perceived as emotional, but
yes.
most times the men around us demonstrate a lot more emotion than we do, but it's just they have no self-awareness sometimes. So that kind of brings me into a similar topic. So in your book, you talk a lot about sisterhood, and candidly, there are times I think we can all think of when we as women maybe don't stand up for each other, even though there is strength in unity. So, do you have any advice on how we can foster more support among women and create that sisterhood?
Yeah, I mean, to be just frank with all the women, stop talking crap about other women. Let's just start there. Like, it's not necessary. There's plenty of job roles, there are plenty of men, there's plenty of money to go around. We don't need to be jealous of other women and drag them through the mud to get where we need to go. It starts with us. We have to stop that behavior. See, I went off on a tangent, Carrie, because I get
Mhm,
talking about this stuff and then I'm like, my head goes in 15 different directions.
mhm. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but it does happen. It's reality, but again, there is strength in having a united front.
It is, and I think
Um,
when we
Go ahead.
stop throwing other women under the bus like this and let them know, like, support them. Like, if they're up for a role or whatever, a promotion, support them. There's always going to be another one for you. Like, we have to stand united, really, and it just starts with us by respecting each other as women to begin with, and just stop talking crap and bullying other women and talking behind their backs. Like, we just have to stop it. And it takes
No.
one person. It's a chain reaction. People are like, how do you stop it? Well, let me tell you. Next time Carrie wants to come gossip to me about Paige at the water cooler about what Paige is wearing that day, or did you know that Paige didn't do a really good job yesterday? I can just politely say to Carrie, hey, Carrie, I don't think that we should be talking about that. Let's move along to something else. What did you do this weekend? Change your direction. That's a good way to kind of stop it.
I love that. So we are going to open it up to any questions that are in the chat, but while we're doing that, there was something on a lighter note that the book club participants had asked. They're like, where did Travis, Teresa's husband, come from? He just kind of appeared in the book. They didn't really know how he got there. Like, did you manifest him? How did you meet your husband? And can you tell us a little bit about Travis?
Yeah, well, my husband was in the book the entire time. He was just edited out by my editor. In all reality, because when it comes down to it, the final draft was like 1,200 pages. And she's like, we just can't. We have to cut some things out. But Travis and I actually have known each other since we were in elementary school. We went to the same school. We lived a couple blocks from each other. His family and his mom and my mom worked together, and they spent a lot of time together out on the town. And so Travis and I have always kind of known each other, but in our teenage years, if you've read my book, he says that I hung with a rougher crowd than he did, but he always had a crush on me. Um, so he's always been a part of my life, but more recently, in 2015, him and I reconnected when I was a police officer and started dating. And we dated for 6 years, and we've been married now for four, so a total of 10 years. So he's didn't just appear in my life, but he did just appear in the book. I apologize. I let everybody down with that one.
Well, we're going to be looking for a sequel to the book where we can get all of these answers. Karima, do we have any questions in the chat?
I don't see any questions in the chat. I do have a question if I could ask one.
Please.
Teresa, you are so fierce and so powerful. Sometimes in a corporate setting, that could be um, not viewed favorably for women. So sometimes it could be the total opposite. It could be the total opposite in a household, but we're not going to go there. But sometimes that could not be viewed favorably. What is your advice for women who are feeling like their passion, their and a lot of times it's passion for us, which could come across as being aggressive. What is your advice for women dealing with that?
Just keep being you. Honestly, I don't want to, I don't know how much time we have, but I recently, gotten out of law enforcement and I'm doing my life coaching, but also I do community management now for a very big company. And this is the conversation that I had with my supervisor. And she's like, I love every bit of it. You're going to come off nasty. You're going to come off like you're aggressive. She's like, man, I see that as strong and you're going to run this company one day. She's like, I just want you to be you, but I want you to understand that some of the language you use is not corporate language. So we need to work on that. But and I appreciated that advice. Like, just continue to be you. And that's what I've done. I am me. I throw less F-bombs and try to word my emails a little bit more friendlier, even, when it's cut to the chase. But I'm still me. And that's the best advice that I can give is just be you. People will learn that that is your personality and you're passionate and you're caring and you're just there for the team.
Love that. Thank you.
Teresa, one question we didn't touch on. So you talked a lot about your daughter in the beginning, and I know we didn't dive too deeply into your childhood, but how did your upbringing impact how you raised Brooklyn and the style that you had that may have been a little bit different than what you've seen as a child?
Yeah, I wish Brooklyn was here to jump in on this call with me because she'd have some things to say. I've raised her completely different than I was raised. I've always been open and honest with her, even in adult situations. I mean, I've not disclosed too much. I've always had a love-hate relationship because I'm like, am I being too much? Do I need to be softer? Um, so I raised her in a completely different path by just being more open and honest. And really, I was strict with her, but not strict. Like, I'm like, if you want to go out drinking with your friends as teenagers, you know, that's fine. But I need to know where you're at, who you're with, and you never get into a car with somebody that's been drinking or using drugs, and you never drive a car yourself. I have always, like, especially in her teenage years, I've always just said that to her. I'm not going to tell you no, that you can't use drugs and you can't party. And if you're going to have sex, this is what we're going to do. And she's listened because she's seen me struggle and she's 26 years old now, will be this weekend. She owns her own business, is extremely successful. I would just like everybody to know that she doesn't drink, she doesn't use drugs, and I am not a grandma yet. So I did something right. Like, And she will say too, she's like, Mom, I hated you from the years 16 and 17, but she's like, I look around at all my friends and she's like, not that there's anything wrong with this, but you led me so well that I'm in this point. My friends from high school have 2 or 3 kids. They're 24 years old. They're working at dead end jobs, like no career path. Their families don't want them around. It's just they've chose a different lifestyle. And she's like, I am just so glad you've done everything in your power to be there for me and push me and support me. Here I am. That's completely different path, Carrie.
I love that. So there's probably a lot more cycle breakers in the room that may have just not had a chance to share their story yet, but congratulations on raising such an amazing daughter and all of your success. I'm going to bring up your contact information if anyone would like to connect with you after today, and then I will pass it back over to Karima to wrap us up for today.
Yeah, here we go. We've got the contact information for you guys to contact Teresa. You can go to the website, go and get the book if you do not have the book, and then also check her out on LinkedIn. So lots of ways to get in touch. Teresa, thank you so much. That was so powerful. Um, and just all of the advice and the coaching. It made for a very motivational Friday going into a holiday weekend. So we appreciate it. As it relates to FWA, we are celebrating the fact that we have reached over 700 members. Over 700 members. Think about that. Like 3 years ago, I remember doing a survey. There were like 52 members 3 years ago, and now we're up to 700. So that is amazing. So we truly are transitioning from a network to a movement of supporting one another. Teresa, your message about supporting women and not hurting other women and not putting other women down. That is what FWA is all about. So I feel like you've been reading our LinkedIn posts. So that is what we're all about. We're all about supporting each other. And we are supporting women at all phases of their career, all women. So it's very important for us to all just stick together, keep connecting, keep joining, come to the meetings, engage on our LinkedIn page, and make sure that you're a part of the LinkedIn group for our members. And thank you guys. Enjoy your long holiday weekend.